for today. Just, figured I'd probably pick on the majority of you, just kind of call you out and just share with us where you guys are at. A few questions I had thought of. Feel free to answer some of them, all of them, one of them, or just kind of share anything else. But just kind of the things of, what are you excited for 2021? What are you currently doing for kids ministry? Is probably a big thing that lots of people would be interested in. What are your biggest challenges right now that you're facing? What are maybe some things that are going well? And then maybe, do you guys got any plans at all? Maybe thinking about Easter or summer or anything. So feel free just to take kind of those to think about and share on just one, two, any of those questions. But anyone that would like to jump in and kind of share where they're at first? All right, well, I'm going to pick on Michael Stone, aka Nathan Ball.
Oh, my name's on. All right.
Yeah. So what are you guys up to in Merritt?
Well, what we've been doing now is our curriculum that we were running before is group, sort of like Foundations Faith. It's like an all online kind of thing where you can build your Sundays. I don't know. It was a cool tool. It worked well. So we've just sort of used that tool instead of taking like one lesson a month, one lesson a Sunday. So for example, their lessons are, the topics are like, God is kind, so we can be kind, or God is creative, so we can be creative, and different things like that. So instead of taking it like, okay, well, each lesson is like one Sunday kind of thing, we opened it up to be like, okay, every month we're doing one lesson. And then, because the way the curriculum works is like, there's like a huge list of things you can click and drag of how you want to build your lesson. So there's like a couple different crafts. There was a couple different kinds of games, like high energy games, low energy games. There were like deeper Bible studies, object lessons, like simple Bible studies. So we ended up doing it where we just made a whole bunch of lessons out of one lesson. And then so we had like repetition going. So it's like for a month, the lesson is God is kind, so we can be kind too. And then so they get that repetition of like, okay, God is kind, God is kind, God is kind. And actually, I felt it was quite encouraging hearing it from the kids as well, that they remembered like from that repetition, they're like, God is kind, we're doing that this month. And then hearing the parents be like, all we hear is God is kind at home, like, and all these. So it was encouraging that way, just changing it a little bit to like really hammer the repetition of simple things. Then of course December happened and we lost it all again and couldn't meet in person. So then December we had sort of like, we just did some YouTube videos that we put together for the kids, like Christmas object lessons and stuff like that. And then now coming up with 2021 here, we were hoping we were going to be able to get back, but not sure when that's going to happen. So we've sort of took our sort of paradigm of what we were doing in person in the fall, and we're just doing that by sending like videos to them on YouTube kind of thing. So like this month's is God is kind. That's what we were doing this month. So it's just kind of like 4 or 5 minute quick lesson videos that we sort of link for the parents to get. And one week's an object lesson, another week's a Bible study kind of thing. And so far I think that's going well. The hardest part for us now is just trying to get the parents to actually, sort of do that with the kids and give the kids that opportunity kind of thing. I think that's, for us, that's sort of the biggest challenge at the moment, is parent involvement. And for another question you said, what we're looking forward to and what we're dreaming, hoping on, is that we can do a VBS this summer. So.
In-person VBS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who would have thought that would be the dream, is in person, as long as it can be in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. Anyone want to volunteer next? Or shall I call on one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my name's Laurel, and I'm living in Castlegar, New Life Church, and we're not much has been going on since COVID happened. Like we have not been able to meet in person, and then kind of like you said, Nathan, like we finally were able to kind of meet in person, and then it got kiboshed right away with the kids because we decided not to meet in person for a while, and we were actually meeting at my parents' farm, so the kids would go crazy with like goats and chickens, and we would go on a nature walk and talk about Jesus in nature. And then the only thing that I've been doing is running a Bible study for my grades 4 to 7s, because I would usually just run the junior youth with them. And I think during this time, God's just been like focus on where you can produce fruit. And so I've been doing a Bible study with the kids, and then before the new year, they were asking about learning about healing, and it's been really interesting because it's less than 10 kids, but they've grown. I feel like they're growing really significantly. It's been really cool to watch them do listening prayers and give each other words of encouragement and be able to encourage each other. And, I think that God's really developing some leaders within our group, which I think is really good because that'll help recruit into them, like they usually my leaders usually end up teaching Sunday school, and they usually end up being quite involved with the church. We usually get them plugged in. So that's been the hard piece, I think, for them. We usually do a big fundraiser over Christmas, and they were bummed that we couldn't do that, and they're bummed that we can't go to Spark this year, even though History Maker is going to be online. They're like, oh, but nothing's in person. So, and I did run a course for some ladies in the fall, and a lot of our moms actually joined in, and it was called Mrs. Better Half. So it was really cool to see some of the moms develop, and we talked about motherhood a little bit, and to see some growth there, like being able to focus on doing stuff for parents too, because I think you're right, parent involvement has just been like, during this time we're really trying to encourage parents, like it's your job to disciple your kids, it's your job to disciple kids, so like let's not be stagnant in that. And as much as we want to try and connect with them, a lot of parents here are just done with things online and Zoom. We're in a mountain town, and most everybody spends time outside. And, I think a lot of people are just spending time together as a family and don't want their kids on screens. So there's very few who have been coming to our studies, but the Bible studies have been really good. We've really been digging deep with a small group of kids, which has been really good. And then for 2021, I think, yeah, the fact that we could gather and meet in person. I've had a few parents ask me to take their kids out one-on-one. So it's nice if they lifted restrictions a bit, so I could at least take kids out for coffee or something like that. Because I usually do that with any of the kids that ask if they're struggling or they're going through something, then I try and take them out. And give them an opportunity to have someone other than their parent to confide and talk in. So I'm hoping that will be able to happen here within the next little bit too. Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking there. My mic was muted. Yeah, thanks to Laurel for sharing there. Linnea and Tiffany, thanks for joining us. Just kind of going around and just sharing where everyone is at. I posted some questions in the chat there. You can glance at. Feel free to talk about any of them, pick or choose all of them, whatever you like. And feel free, everyone, if you have questions for whoever's sharing, feel free to jump in and ask them questions. Or while you're sharing, if you have a question that you want to ask everyone, feel free to ask your questions as well to everyone, and we can all chime in and speak to that. One thing I was looking at, just to kind of speak to Laurel and restrictions lifting, I was reading the January 8th additions to the restrictions, and they're loosening up programs and activities for those under 22, so kids and youth. So being that we are church professionals, right? Like we are organizations that provide services for kids and youth. There is flexibility there for those things like one-on-one meetings, or if there was a structured program that you wanted to do. The biggest thing is making sure that you do have a COVID plan, like written plan in place, and that you still have to follow all the guidelines. But there is kind of a little bit more of that lenience for kids and youth because the province understands the importance of their mental and physical health. So just, yeah, some things to consider.
I have a quick question about that, Austin.
Yeah.
Because we were wondering the same thing about kind of, there was almost a bit of a, gray area for what would be considered as after school care. But when we asked the district, they told us that it was not available, like that we shouldn't be doing stuff in person with like kids still as an after school thing, because some people are doing like, oh, like youth group is after school, it's just at like 6:30 after school. Could that be kind of part of the gray area? So I don't know if are you talking about the same thing, or is what you're talking about a little bit different?
Yeah, like I don't know how recent that was for you, but like the additions were as of the 8th, so quite recently. And they even did, I can't remember the exact word of it, but it was like, they had like counseling in there and like social, the word social gatherings was in there. Like they did open it up a little bit broader than what it was back in December and November. So I can definitely send out that link for everyone to take a look, just so you can actually read the wording. And that's the thing, like when you think of a youth group, there's still most things that a group or even a kids program that you can't do, right? Like you still can't have any performances, right? So that would be anyone like up on a stage presenting anything, right? So you couldn't do any skits or Bible lessons that way. You can't do any singing, right? So there's still lots of stuff that you couldn't do. But it does give some lenience to dream some different ways that we could still gather together. Oh, it looks like Lene got it there for us. Thank you. Awesome. Who wants to go next?
Hi, I'm from Kelowna. I have never been a part of the online stuff with you guys, but I've been following a lot of what you're doing, Austin. So thank you for what you're doing. And I'm with the CMA Alliance District in Kelowna. And so are there any other alliance? Okay. Hi, Nicole.
I'm Kelowna though. I'm in Kelowna.
Okay.
So is Morgan.
Kelowna.
Pardon? We're at Evangel in Kelowna, and Morgan is also from the church in Kelowna too. So
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So that amendment actually came out. We didn't receive it till last week, but it actually came out December 24th, which was really odd because we didn't know about it. And then it got reissued on January 7th, like you said, Austin. And so our district put together some specifics for us as well. I didn't attach ours, but I attached the government one. And then my preteen team, we've been going through it, and just it's pretty tight. It's pretty non-social and very not youth group or I think play-based at all. So we're deciding not to actually do that until the next order, February 7th, gets lifted or gets extended. And then we'll make an assessment as a team about doing that. And then we'll look at going up to spring break and then restarting again, depending on everything in BC. I feel you probably all feel the same way, right? We're like, we might do this, but we're not sure. And yeah, so I'm excited this year for just starting to connect with people again and start looking at really what the fall could look like, and things that we used to do that we don't need to do, or things that we have dreamed about doing. So that's exciting because I really work project-based. I like doing projects, and that's very motivating for me. So when I turned the calendar in January, I was quite not motivated, as like we say, and a little discouraged. And then started talking to people and just thinking, we need to start planning ahead. And that's helpful for me as the leader to be looking ahead. Right now we're doing kids online only, and our church is online, as like most of you, and youth is totally online. Everybody took a break as of December, beginning of December. We were just in the phase of reopening in person for Advent season for up to 50. So 2 weeks before, we were just about to launch. We were having our pilot run with the staff and board, and then the next week we had opened it up to people. And so we never even got to do that. So we have never been opened yet. So almost, 2 months shy of a year of not being open. We've had small groups and people meeting in the church up until the last order, but mostly everything now is online. And our biggest challenge, I think, has been we have all new staff. So we have a new associate pastor, a new youth pastor, a new music director, and then myself, I was on a leave during the first phase of COVID. So I came back in September, and then our lead pastor has been there the whole time, and then our youth pastor is now our young adults pastor. So we're all like in a new forming of our staff team. So that's challenging, but also exciting because we've had a lot of time to really do some team building, get to know each other, and look ahead at what we're doing with our student ministries, kids up to young adults. So that's kind of what we're working on. So.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds great. Anyone want to go next?
Sarah, did you already share?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Hello, sorry I was a bit late. So Sarah and I are from CLCC in Abbotsford, and I can talk about, I run the midweek kids club called Treasure Quest for grades 2 to 5, and obviously we met 3 times in person, and it was awesome, even though it was a bit different, and then we got shut down. And then we ended up doing a Zoom Christmas party, which I wasn't keen on Zoom, especially with the younger ones, but I thought I would try, and it actually turned out much better than I expected. We had we dropped off packages of like hot chocolate and popcorn so they could make like a drink and a snack for our party, and bingo cards and a craft, and then we did bingo, we played bingo, and they had their snack, and it was really nice to see everyone, and it worked so well that we're gonna do some more TQ via Zooms, which I didn't think we would, but that's the route we're going. Parents are just desperate for something, so that's what we're doing. And moving forward, I would love if on spring break we could have drop-in times where the kids could just come play in the gym, although I'm not holding my breath that it will happen, but I would love to be able to do that. Yeah, that's on the TQ front, and Sarah can probably share more about like Sunday stuff.
Yeah. Heather, would you just be able to kind of talk about, I'm curious, like what's the format of a Zoom night?
Okay.
Kids?
So the nice thing about Zoom is like, I'm not paying for a subscription, so it's only 40 minutes. It kind of gives you that time frame, and that's probably the most that they can actually sit and watch anyways. There's so many ideas out there. So we're going to be doing next week, we're going to be doing charades. So we would everyone comes on, and maybe we do like a quick game, like would you rather this or would you rather that, or go find these things around your house. There's lots of ideas. So we're going to be doing charades, and then we've been learning about the names of God. And so I thought, even if just for like 2 minutes each time we talk about a new name of God, and then have a verse, and the kids enjoy just grabbing their Bibles and someone looking up the verse and reading it. So just so that we're doing something, but it needs to be quick. It can't be a lesson over Zoom, I don't think. So we'll do that. Yeah, just like a couple of activities. We're gonna do a talent show so they can think about, and it can be anything. They can read a joke, they can do a cartwheel, they can show us their cat, I don't know, so that they each have a turn to shine. And yeah, there's lots of ideas out there. So I feel like, yeah, it's kind of what it will be. Mostly just some games, a little bit focusing on the Word of God, and just, yeah, being able to see their faces and connect with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Right, Sarah, we'll jump to you next.
Yeah.
So I'm the early childhood pastor here at CLCC, work with Heather, and we have a team of us that work together. So for Sundays, we went back to services in September, and we were super excited about that. It was limited, but it was just so good to feel a little normal again. So we got a little taste, and then it got ripped away from us again. So we fortunately were prepared for our online and continued our online lessons. So we record, we have someone on staff that records all our videos, edits them all, and puts them all together. So that's just a huge gift for us that we just have to do the lesson. So we record like 3 weeks at a time, and then we put them up every Sunday, and we do a Facebook Live. So with our whole church. So that's kind of how we do for our Sunday mornings. And then I do a mom's group, and we had done a COVID-friendly story hour for the fall, for September to whatever that was when everything got shut down. Was that October, November? I don't even know anymore. It's all a blur. And then, so we were supposed to have a Christmas party. So like Heather and I kind of brainstormed together. So she delivered packages to her kids, and I did the same thing. We made these like snowman soup, hot chocolate packages. And I did a Christmas party in a bag and dropped it off to 25 families. So it was a chance to connect with them face to face. And I'd made gingerbread cookies and put together cookie decorating kits, and then a treat for the mom and a Starbucks gift card. So it was kind of like a party in a bag. So I did that for Christmas for the moms. And then I think Lene was saying it too. Went into the new year feeling super discouraged, kind of not really motivated, and feeling like, when's this ever going to end? This is just like, what can we do? We can't do anything. And I was feeling kind of, I do well with a plan. I'm a planner, and I felt like I can't even plan anymore. So I was just prayed about it and asked God for creativity on how to do things differently. Like I was just feeling like I'm going to the church office and it's become a desk job, and that's just not what I went into ministry for, to sit at a desk all day. And so I decided to do some little bit out of the box, maybe a tad stretching the rules, but I'm offering free childcare to families to go look after their kids and give the moms a break. And I feel like we're allowed to, they're allowed to have childcare. So why not go be their childcare? So I actually have to duck out of this meeting because I'm going to a family at 11, and I just am reaching out to families that I feel like could need some extra support, and it's a way for me to be with kids again, and help parents out and connect with families at the same time. So going out, like taking them outside as most as possible, and older kids that I don't have to necessarily touch or, like do a lot of care with. But so it's kind of stretching the rules a little bit, but that's kind of the point I got to when I'm like, if I was a babysitter or their childcare, I would be allowed. So stretching the rules a bit with that one. And then, yeah, so we are, I did a survey to my moms, and they were not interested in Zoom or that. So we're not going to try that for our moms group. That's why I kind of thought I got to come up with something different. And then I've just gotten involved with our outreach, our community outreach pastor that we have here at the church. And it's just really cool because we are connected with a local organization that is not faith-based at all. And but they support young moms who need extra support. And so we are doing food hampers. The church, we are supporting 30 families. And I think maybe 5 or 6 of those are church families and the rest are these community families. And so yesterday I got to go and deliver a food hamper to one of them. And it just was totally a God thing. They lived like on my street in my neighborhood. So that was really cool to connect with her and be able to offer help to her as well and support. So basically I'm just trying to put myself out there in ways and not focus on the things that I can't do or the programs, and kind of instead of like being stuck, just kind of being like, what can I do? And I can't help everyone and I can't see everyone, but just take one at a time and go from there. And looking forward, we're meeting next month to kind of dream and plan next month, couple weeks. Yeah. Austin's coming.
We're meeting next week.
On Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday
You
next week. And we're going to kind of dream and plan for what we want summer to look like. So we haven't really talked about that yet. So we're going to have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Yeah, that's great, Sarah. Thanks for sharing. And I love that thought of, not thinking about what you can't do right now, but think about what can I do right now. But curious, did you get any feedback on why your mom's group didn't want Zoom?
No, I just did a poll on my Facebook group that I have with them. I did a poll and I just asked 3 questions. Would you want Zoom or would you prefer to wait till we can meet in person? Would you like a video or no thanks? And basically 95% said no, like we'll wait till we can meet in person. So they didn't say why, but
Okay.
yeah,
that's always, surveys are always great. Figure out those things. So
yeah, because it's a lot of work to put that kind of thing together, and I'm definitely happy to do it. But if no one's going to participate and it's not something that they'll benefit from, then, and of course, all their comments in the comment box was, oh, let's just like, why don't we just accidentally all meet up in the church parking lot together? So they all had the creative ideas of their own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that would fly. So they're definitely craving to get together, but they want the face-to-face, like they want that face-to-face. They're not interested from in the Zoom. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Maybe a question for everyone, maybe just by hands, don't want to take too much time, but are people in your church finding those ways to kind of bend the rules and meet with other people in the church? Like I know, like this past weekend, my wife and I had lunch with her mom and sister, and we just asked for booths like across from each other, right? So we were in different booths, but just across the aisle, right? So we just turned and chatted, but 6 feet apart, and we're able to do it that way. But is that kind of similar thing that's happening in your guys' churches or cities?
Yes, we have a life group who we heard about recently where they don't agree to meet up somewhere. It's just one person, and it's mostly seniors in this group. And they'll just say like, oh, I'm going shopping on Friday at this time. And then they'll just like happen to also be shopping on Friday.
Yeah, I think that's great to, not only want anyone breaking the rules, but knowing that the church isn't the leaders putting on programs, the church is the people, right? And I love when the people are able to take the initiative to be the church in those, just one-on-ones or groups of 2 or 3 and just by themselves, and just be able to continue that connection without having it to be programmed or at a, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. at the church, right? Like just those natural connections happening. It's always encouraging to hear those things. So
yeah, we're going off too of the like providing a service to people. So like we had probably 15, I wasn't here, but I'm just going by the bags, the hampers, 15 families from the church yesterday come to the church and pick up hamper bags to go and deliver to people in our community. So it's a service, but but it's a way for the people to stay connected with the church by coming here, picking up the bags, taking them out, and then they feel like they're a part of what's happening. They're just not sitting at home. So yeah, we're creating ways for people to provide a service, and then that's a way of keeping connected because it's delivering food hampers, which is an essential service.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. I never thought about that aspect of that. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to share next? Chantal, I think that might just be a yawn, but we're gonna say that's you.
Yawn, but okay. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a weird spot right now because I don't primarily do the children's ministry. My coworker Darlene does. As of Monday, I thought that I was taking over a leave for her, only to find out on Tuesday that I wasn't. But there still is a chance that something could change at some point. So I feel like when this Zoom meeting came up, I'm like, I just need to be in the world of children's ministry. And so I do the preteen ministry, and I do stuff with moms, and I do stuff with parents and things like that. And so very much all connected, but she has been the one that's been really spearheading things lately, and just resourcing. She's doing the prayer covenant. She got it off of CLA's Jenny
Caldwell.
Jenny Caldwell. She got it from Jenny Caldwell. And so we're doing their stuff starting this week. And so it's an 11-week prayer program, which looks pretty cool. I don't have a lot of details. I have it right here because my nephews are living with us right now. And so we're going to take them through it. But yeah, so if you have more questions about that, maybe talk to Jenny or to Darlene. But I do the preteen ministry, and we were meeting in person while we could in the fall time. And it was pretty funny. We meet on Wednesday nights, and the Thursday in sometime in November was when the announcement came that they were gonna, no more in-person gatherings. But it's like every parent preempted that because we all of a sudden that Wednesday night had 3 kids, and we've never had that before. And so we're like, wow, this is the lowest attendance we've ever had. So we knew that we would be moving to Zoom anyways, because it just the feel of it made it seem like parents are really cautious. And that's what it seems to be like with our parents. Many are very cautious right now and just nervous, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so we've been doing Zoom, which again, sounds like most of your guys' problem. A lot of people are Zoomed out. And so our attendance is really low, both from leaders and from students. But the ones that are there are super there, and they need it and they love it, and they are huge participants. So it's totally worthwhile. It's just, if you're to gauge things by numbers, it's discouraging, which is kind of the cool thing about COVID, because it's kind of taken that emphasis off. But yeah, so we were doing Zoom and it's going really well. We have the Orange curriculum XP3 middle school ministry. And so I particularly bought it. I've only ever bought it this year. And just with COVID, just my team wasn't really built up with speakers, and I was a primary speaker, and it was kind of our contingency plan in case I got sick and couldn't come or had a cold or whatever. That we could play a video and just have something different. Just because of the team that we had, we totally had to rebuild this year. It was very strange. And so yeah, but we are doing it and we love it, and our kids love it, and I totally tweak it and hardly ever follow it to a T. But it's just nice to have it as a base. And kind of other things that we've been doing. I was running a moms group also, meeting throughout the summer. We would meet at different beaches and have socially distanced gathering with the kids and things like that. And that was awesome. And then when we moved into fall, when it was colder weather, we were meeting at the church, and it was kind of like a stay and play type thing where it was during daytime hours on a Friday morning. I'd provide like danishes, cinnamon buns, and coffee and stuff, and then moms would come and hang out by our fireplace that has a cozy feel, and then the kids would hang out with a bunch of toys in the foyer and just be total chaos. But it was really, really enjoyable. It was something that's been on my heart for years, and kind of just felt like COVID presented a cool opportunity to do it, and people were hungry to meet. So that was going really well. But then with the shutdown, we had to shut that down. And when I looked, just like one of you have mentioned, when I did a poll on Facebook with our moms group saying, hey, who would like to Zoom? Because that's what we did all throughout the original lockdown in the spring. No one was interested. And so that's been kind of discouraging because it feels like it's our only option and it doesn't feel like it's a good option. So, and then, but something that we did do, which we didn't feel like we were breaking the rules on, but maybe we were, no, I don't think we were, but some of you may look like this and be like, this is a stretch. Well, here's our stretch. Because we are a church that follows, like we're trying to be, the one clause that came out for the December restriction was that churches were allowed to run mental health groups and 12-step programs. And so, I ran a mental health group, a 4-week mental health group in December, and December can just naturally be a really hard month for people. So can January, February. So we're looking to redoing one of those. But I did one and another coworker ran one. And it was a very small group of people that met, but we met in person and it was fantastic. Everyone that came were people that recognized that they had mental health was a concern. And we just made it very clear that we're not mental health professionals at all. We are pastors who are trying to support your mental health journey in addition to what other supports you're getting. And so then from there, mental health is kind of a passion of mine. And I'm doing my master's in counseling psychology. And so basically I know enough to know that I know not enough at all to be doing this, to be doing much. That's what I know. And so, but I know a lot of resources in our town and so, or in our city. And so just compiled some of those to be able to give to people and just talked about on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your mental health journey doing this week? Were there any contributing factors that you think helped or hindered your mental health? What are some really small bite-sized goals we can implement this week to kind of help you in your mental health journey? And just very simple things. We talked about sleep. We talked about if people were on medication, if they were taking their medication regularly, if they were talking to their counselor, things like that. Just really a support group, not a mental health professional at all. And it was received super well. And so people are asking for it again, which is awesome. It's just right now I'm taking over another leave for one of my other coworkers as well. And so I don't know how many more evenings I can sign up for and still be married and have 3 children that stay alive. So, but yeah, so that was really cool. That was a highlight. And one thing that we are also looking into, because the other clause was we're allowed to run 12-step programs. And there's a 12-step program based out of the Village Church called Freedom Sessions that I have just been wanting to run for like the existence of my life that I found out about it. And so we're looking into running a pilot project with that to see if there's any traction there and to see if we think it'll fit in our discipleship model with our church. And so, yeah, just like some of you were saying, just looking for the opportunities to do things. But it's really discouraging. I feel that the Zoom part where it's like, I want to see people and meet with you guys and give you something, help you. And Zoom's my only way. And they're like, nope, don't want to. Then it's like, well, you feel, I don't know, you feel bad. Like, I feel like I want to help, but don't know how. And so, but one other thing that we did at Christmas that was a big highlight that COVID presented the opportunity on that I think we'll bring into every Christmas season now moving forward, or at least every year, was a ministry or a program that just came to mind called Adopt a Somebody. And so basically, I'll tell you guys this in case you guys are looking for a simple way to, I don't know, to minister to people in a cool way. So we did something called Adopt a Somebody. And basically, it was birthed out of our community outreach that I ran for 10 years has not been able to run because of COVID. And so as looking for ways that the church can still be really active in our, like to be looking out for others, serving others, be active in our community. And so the Adopt a Somebody idea came together, and basically there was just people that we knew of in either in our church or just from our community that we had relationship with who were really struggling. Maybe they were a single mom, they're, you know, a senior that lives alone, or they were a college student that couldn't go home for Christmas, or it was a family that was new to the island, or a family that was or just struggling financially. And so it kind of, those were like the main criteria, just someone who could be struggling financially or in isolation. And then we paired them up with a group of people that signed up on our website from our church who would be adoptees. And so these people when you sign up to commit to praying for that person for the month, making a care packages and writing them a Christmas card. And so when they signed up, then we prayed and we matched them together. And then we got them to deliver before Christmas their care packages and things like that. And it feels very humbling to talk about because it really felt like the kind of connections that came out of it was only one that God could do. Like it was just like so crazy the way that God orchestrated the connections there, and just both the adoptees and the adopters just were totally blessed and just very emotional through the whole process. And so, yeah, that was a highlight that came out of COVID, and we want to continue it moving forward, which is really cool. So yeah, that's the end. Sorry for my very long spiel. When I don't know what to say, I ramble.
No, I love that. Thanks for sharing. And I can echo, yeah, Freedom Sessions is an incredible, incredible program.
Okay.
I encourage all of you just to even just Google it and look it up and take a look. So we ran that every year at our church in Edmonton, and my wife was a big part of that and went through it. And it's, such an incredible program. And Chantel, thanks for sharing about that adopt a person or adopt a someone thing, that program that you did. I had a church yesterday that I was chatting with that they were interested in doing something like that, but they had no idea where to start. So look for an email in your inbox. I'm going to connect you guys. So
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go.
All right, Nicole. Thank you.
So I guess I'll do like more short term because I feel like we've all been in this for a long time, kind of in the same situations. But in December, we were meeting for a bit again. So we had a Monday Connect group. We were doing in person with a group of like 15 kids. And so that got stopped and shut down. So we just did one like Christmas party on Zoom. And just like I think Heather was saying, it went like way better than I kind of thought it would. I was hopeful, but I didn't really know because we haven't done a ton of Zoom calls with our kids. So yeah, we did a Zoom Christmas party, went awesome. And so starting next Monday, we're starting our Zoom Connect groups on Mondays for like half hour. We use Orange curriculum. We just bought it during COVID. It's been an amazing resource. I'm pretty excited about it and about sharing it with our families. But during COVID, it's been tricky to think about how can I cast vision for this direction that we're headed during COVID, where like no volunteers are on site and all this stuff. So it's been a blessing that it's a slower time where you can really grab hold of a new curriculum and be kind of just be able to focus on it more as opposed to if we were running normal weekly stuff. But it's also the challenge of communicating that to people and getting that vision out. So that's kind of something we're doing is Monday Connect groups, and that's Zoom calls for kids stuff. Sundays is online services, which Orange helps a lot with, but we kind of do, Josh and I, so my husband and I, we're the kids pastors here. And so we kind of do like as if we're the hosts of the service. And then we use material from Orange curriculum, the video stuff, and families love it. We've been getting amazing feedback. So that's been really encouraging. And then during December, we were trying to figure out what to do because we'd gone into our lockdown again. So we did Advent boxes. So we just put together, again, it was a lot of resources from Orange, and there's a kind of a community group that had, some of them were trying this out as well. So we were able to partner together. It made my kind of admin side of things a lot simpler, which was amazing because you get bogged down by admin stuff. So we just put together these boxes for families, and then we just put it out in all kinds of like email, Facebook, any way we could try to reach people. And so we had 50 families sign up for it, which was awesome. Some engagement, and it just allowed them to do something together as a family. So some families were like, oh, my kid wants one. And I had to try to communicate more of the vision of like, this is a family activity to be able to even if it was something simple, like we provided a few items in their supplies so that they could do it together as a family. And then every Sunday was like an Advent reading, a short, like 5-minute devotional they could do together and light a candle. And so we got a lot of good feedback from that, which was awesome. And then I think for the future thinking, there's like plan A and plan B. So plan A is more so thinking this is probably going to keep going for a bit, but plan B, if we reopen, what's that going to look like? So that's kind of a bit of where my mind is, just how are we going to do some of that transition of coming back and having that a plan set up at least, or framework. So trying to work on that for the future. And then in March, I've been thinking about doing like an Easter scavenger hunt for families. So they would get all the information and then they would go to different locations around the city, and have a volunteer at a table, and they have, I don't know, it's not fully like fleshed out, but they would have some amount of candy at each stop. So it's like like a Easter egg hunt, and they travel in their families with their vans and go around. So that's kind of a fun idea that I'm excited to kind of go more into. And I think even if I can't fully imagine if we're going to be really back in March, I don't know, but even if, or I guess it's like end of March, early April this year. But I think it would be a good thing to do regardless if we're back or not. We won't be able to do a big on-site thing anyway. So yeah, so that's kind of our plans there. And the last couple of weeks, I've just been really focusing on like reaching out to my volunteers, because I'm being honest, I feel like I've dropped the ball a bit with my volunteers, because we've been you're always trying to kind of reimagine things and how are we reaching our families, our kids, but I felt like our volunteers, I kind of neglected during that time. So this past couple of weeks, we wrote letters to all of our volunteers, like just a small card. Front was like really cheesy. It was like, can we taco about what a great volunteer you are? And it was like a taco at the front, and so just something silly, but on the back, just saying that we miss them, we appreciate them, that kind of thing. And then as I just found, like, as I was writing these cards, that God was like increasing my love for the volunteers as I wrote them. Just something simple, and they weren't even part of that process directly, but it was just something really cool to make me feel like connected to my volunteers again when we had been apart for so long. And then I've been just sending like text messages or emails. So we have like quite a few volunteers, so it's taken a chunk of time, but I felt like it's been really valuable, just to invest and just to let them know, hey, we haven't forgot about you. We love you. We care about you. And just to know that we're here. So that's kind of been something that's been on my heart to focus on, was volunteers for a little bit here. So I don't know, in the future, I was part of this, I forget what it was called, but launch into 2021. Austin posted about it, and it was basically like a webinar, and it was really awesome, really practical and encouraging. But there was one person who like had something like this, and maybe you guys are all like already on the ball and do this all the time, but it's just like a plan for each month, and each week's like bottom line or theme or what lesson, and your plan for communication, plan for a special event if you're going to do one, how are you going to team train, how are you going to do team appreciation. So, and that's for like every month, just like kind of having a scope to look at. So that's what I'm kind of trying to get into right now, is just be a bit more structured, even if it's like, I feel like, how do we plan when we don't know what's going to happen? I'm trying to just make myself put some stuff down and just kind of push myself that way. And I also have felt like this season has been really good for just learning myself. So I've been trying to read a bit more, or just be part of webinars or whatever, if there's extra time when I'm not prepping for like a Sunday morning. So that's been a good thing to be able to try and lead myself a bit in this time. So that's me.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. Is that a PDF that you have that you could share? That like
yeah, I have it. Someone made it, and I think I downloaded it, so I could share it.
Would you be able to share that in our Facebook group?
Yeah, I'll do that.
There, that'd be awesome. And yeah, anyone else that has incredible resources like that, throw those in our Facebook group. Would be awesome. And yeah, we're just nearing the end of our time, and we're being respectful of the hour here. And I know that there's a few of you who haven't been able to share yet, but I just want to pick on Carol Lee. If you just want to share here at the end, I think it's probably just because of proximity. You're like 20 minutes away, but your stuff is always showing up on my Facebook feed. And it's always incredible. I love seeing it. You're doing incredible things. So if you just would, love to just hear what you guys have been doing.
So I'll touch on a few things we did leading up to Christmas. Last year we did a drama group that was really awesome. Like we had 15 kids that signed up, and it was so great. We did a production with them. We had so much fun, huge response from our community. And then COVID hit, and honestly, that was the hardest thing for me to let go of with COVID, because it just, there's so much of my passion that's tied to that. I love drama, I love writing scripts, all those things. And so that was really hard. But I really started to pray that God would help me to reimagine and kind of restructure how we could do that. With the restrictions, we couldn't meet in a group with the kids to coach them or whatever. So what I ended up doing is, one of my fellow coaches for the drama club, we decided we would meet with certain kids over Zoom. And I had come up with a framework of Advent scripts leading up to Christmas that I had kind of a basic structure for the skits. And she and I developed the scripts, and then we chose kids from our drama group to do this, in addition to adding new children who are interested for doing scripture reading to tie into the Advent videos. We were, even with the shutdowns, we were still allowed to meet with kids one-on-one, or like myself and the other coach and the other child, as long as we followed the guidelines, because we just weren't allowed to have a meeting. And so we were able to film these kids doing these monologues, one for each Sunday of Advent, as well as record the kids doing the scripture readings that tied in with that. And then that became part of our general service online. That was our Advent for every Sunday leading up to Christmas and on Christmas Eve. It was fantastic. The response was huge, like from our team and our congregation, the community. People logged in, obviously, because parents and grandparents were like, hey, take a look at my kid. Hey, look at this. And so it was a really cool opening to get community people to come to church that wouldn't normally come, because they want to come see their kids. They want to come see their grandkids. They want to come see their neighbors. And so we had a lot of people come and tune in just for that. The other thing that was very cool is we're just a small church. Like in person, we were right around 200. And so, but we do things kind of crazy and big when we can. So we wanted to do a drive-through, but then the shutdown happened and we were like, oh, we can't do the drive-through. And we are a church that really tries to stick to the letter of the law when it comes to the restrictions and stuff, because that's really important to us. So Mark was looking, like our lead pastor was looking to get all the stipulations. What are the restrictions? And just before, I think it was a week before we were going to do our drive-through on Christmas Eve, Bonnie Henry said, well, you can do drive-throughs as long as people stay in their cars. As long as nobody gets out of their car and everyone who's running it maintains social distance and blah, 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 you can do this. So we're like, yes. So we did this drive-through, and honestly, it went from 3 to 5. We thought, we're not gonna get anybody. We're not. At one point, we had a lineup in our parking lot, and we had made up 100 bags individual bags for each person in the vehicle that had a hot chocolate or a hot apple cider, candy cane chocolates, and a little card that just says Merry Christmas or whatever, and how to connect to our Christmas Eve service. And we gave out every single bag, which was way more than we expected to get. But it just reiterated the fact that we all know people want connections so badly. They're so hungry for connections. So I think it's really important that we follow the rules, but at the same time, like, I think the idea that Sarah had is a pretty neat idea to do childcare, because you are still following the rules, but you're meeting a need. And finding a way to connect. And I think if we are wise and diligent to really look at the stipulations, then there are ways for us to still connect. There are ways for us to still, you know, reach out to people and have an impact. Maybe we have to just dig a little deeper sometimes than what we originally thought. So now that those drama videos have now inspired us to actually follow through with that. That's something that we want to continue to do even once COVID is done, but we're trying to think of how we could use a similar idea for Easter or different things like that to, again, provide an opportunity for our congregation online or in person to invite people to connect and to take a look at our church, to just come, whether it's online or in person. For Zoom, I'm doing preteen on Zoom and continuing to do that. The kids who are in. Like they want to be there. They're excited to be there. We're having lots of fun. The trick is just trying to find new and different ways to have fun with them. And so it's not the same thing over and over and over again, but it's going great. And I'm still writing curriculum for Sunday mornings, so it's still recording every week and producing the videos and stuff like that. And those tie in to the sermon that we have. And what the hope is with that, as it has been in the past, is that families are connecting with each other at home over the content of both the adult service and the kids' church service, because we want to touch on the same thing. I think Ellie and Thomas, that's when you were in person, where, you know, you have all that mixing of generations and stuff. It's so powerful. But that's kind of, I mean, we're not there, but it's kind of a similar idea that the family is connecting over the same topic every week so they can discuss it. And really, I think in some ways it opens the door for parents to really disciple their kids and for the family to kind of grow together. So at least that's our hope. So yeah, that's it. Kind of, now it was my turn to ramble. So
that's awesome. Sarah, thanks for jumping in here, and sorry that we're at the end of our time, but it has been recorded, so we'll post this on our Facebook page for everyone who wasn't able to be here. And yeah, sorry to Morgan, we got the Hazelmans and Tiffany. We ran out of time here. But feel free to use our Facebook page to share ideas that you guys are doing, things that are working. We're better together. And I am so thankful for this Zoom meeting and all of you that were able to participate in it, because it is going to bless hopefully everyone here and so many more that are going to watch this later. Just to be just encouraged, right? Knowing that there's other people out there that are going through the same things that they are, right? Have the same challenges, the same dreams, the same disappointments, the same hopes. And there's just so many good nuggets as well, just practical things that you guys are doing that I know people are going to pick up on and think about and start doing themselves. So yeah, thank you again for being part of this. It's just really encouraging for us to know that we are a community, we're better together, we're here for each other, to inspire each other, cheer each other on. So let me pray for you guys, and then we'll let you guys go on with your day. So let's pray. God, I just thank you so much for your grace. that you've just so wonderfully given to us. God, that through ups and downs of life, through this difficult season that we're going through, your grace is there for us. Though we might not be doing everything right, or we just feel like we're pushing against resistance, or just whatever it is, God, your grace is enough. And we can just live in your presence and just know that you've just called us to love others. And through your wisdom that you give us, we can do incredible things for your kingdom. So I pray for all the leaders here that you just continue to inspire them, God, and continue to give them perseverance to continue the work of your kingdom, that they would just have incredible fresh ideas for people to connect, God. And I just pray for everyone in their congregations, God, all the people in the churches, that they too would have this perseverance to weather this storm, to be okay with changes, God, that they would not resist them, but they would understand that change is good, change is okay, and change needs to happen, and that they would have your grace for those times as well. So just be with everyone as they go into this weekend, and just bless them for this year of 2021. And we pray this in your name. Amen. Amen. Well, yeah, thank you everyone for being part of this once again, and have a good rest of your couple days of the week and the weekend, and we'll stay in touch. Hopefully I kind of eyeballed a schedule of these throughout the next month, I guess, or months, into the fall. So kind of every other month, I think they landed. So we'll have it on your calendars rather than just like the week of or a week before. Give you a little more prep time to lock that in to your calendar. So yeah, take care and God bless.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Austin.
much, everybody. Thanks, Austin.
Thank you. Bye.